What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? My name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button as you come in, like, share, and subscribe because we upload every single day. Today is a lot of news going around Jackson, Mississippi. There was a whole lot going on at Jackson, Mississippi. The biggest thing is that they got a new offense coordinator that's going to transform their offense in 2022. We're going to talk about that right after the bumper. Stay tuned. What's good? What's good? What's good, people? What's good? What's good? What's good, people? So Jackson State, there's a lot coming out Jackson State today. They had a lot of news. But the biggest news that came out late last night, if you didn't catch it, they have hired a new offensive coordinator. Now, we know Jackson State had their struggles on offense this past season. They ran through a few different offense coordinators from Jason Phillips, and then they went over to TC Taylor. And then TC Taylor, the offense got kind of stagnant, and they decided to go in a different direction. And that direction happens to be a young man by the name of Brett Bartolone. I don't even want to mess his name up. He's a young man, and he's coming from Nevada, where they put up a ton of points this past season with Nevada. Let me show you a picture of you guys. This is on my YouTube channel, Jeff Lightsy Jr. This is on my YouTube channel, Jeff Lightsy Jr. Here is the new offense coordinator, and we're going to talk about him and what he is going to bring. It says Jackson State has hired a new offense coordinator. His name is Brett Bartolone. He comes from the Mike Leach air raid lineage. I will have a full breakdown later. That later is right now. This is what he looks like. Someone was like, oh, why didn't they hire a black man? I understand that. Hey, I wish they would have too. But this is what you get. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. They had a black man by the name of TC Taylor, another one by the name of Jason Phillips, and Coach Prime believed they were not getting the job done. Now, TC Taylor is still on the staff. JSU fans, do not be wary. TC Taylor is still on the staff. He is now being used as the wide receiver coach. Now, if you know Jackson State history, football history, TC Taylor was a really, really good wide receiver at Jackson State. He's a JSU legend. They love him down there in Jackson. And so he will be coaching up the wide receivers in this. And that is very, very significant because we are going to be talking that they are going to be playing an air raid offense. Now, for those of you who don't know what the air raid offense is, what's the best example that I can give you? Well, I want to give you, and shout out to all you guys in the comments, Israel, I'm listening, the love, peace. Shout out to all of y'all in the comments. Now, the air raid offense is an offense that is used primarily, it's been around for a long time, but it was made famous by Mike Leach in his days at the University of Kentucky. He was used when he was at Texas Tech, obviously Washington State, and now he's down the street at Mississippi State. Ironically, he's down the street at Mississippi State, and the air raid offense uses a ton of shotgun and getting the ball out as quickly as possible, getting the ball into your playmakers. Now, we talked about on this channel how Jackson State is bringing in all these wide receivers. We counted it out. It's like 10, 11 wide receivers. It's like, why are they getting all these receivers? And they're not getting any running backs. They have not signed any running backs for this class. Somebody in the chat, let me know if they have signed any running backs. No, they have not, I can tell you. And so I was thinking like, yo, what is going on? And why haven't they went out and got, I felt like they needed to upgrade the running back position. And this is exactly why. Coach Prime had this one tucked away under his sleeve for such a long time. Now we're going to read about Mr. Brett Bartolone. This is going to be via Sports Illustrated. Let's take a look at some of the background on Brett Bartolone. This is from HBCU Legends, Mr. Cal T. Mosley. He's a friend of the show. Shout out to Cal. It says, who is Jackson State's new offense coordinator? Brett Bartolone. Says, who is Jackson State's new offense coordinator? Brett Bartolone, the new offensive mastermind for the 2021 SWAC champions. Head coach Deion Sanders posted on Instagram a video of the Tigers football team during offseason workouts. You can check that on my YouTube channel as well. It says, quote, you can expect us to score a lot of points. We're going to be prepared. And to put it quite simply, we're going to do stuff that defenses don't like to do. We're going to play fast. We're going to play super confident, and we're going to attack the defense. Now, that's the key. The key. Key of the air raid offense is fast, fast, fast. Tempo, 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 tempo. It's about moving, moving, moving. You don't have to be, it's not like the zone read offense. Now, some of you guys are thinking of like the zone read offense, you know, basically a lot of quarterback runs incorporated, a lot of stuff like that. No, air raid is about a bunch of mesh routes and about getting the ball out. It's about getting the ball out. If you follow any kind of college football, Bailey Zappi, he played at Western Kentucky University, my alma mater, by the way. He played at Western Kentucky University. He played in the air raid offense. Bailey Zappi can't run faster than you or me. He is dirt slow. He is not a mobile quarterback at all, but he got the ball out and he set the single season touchdown record and yardage record playing in the offense that Jackson State will run this fall. Because Bailey Zappi's offensive coordinator was a man by the name of Zach Kitley, who played for who? Mike Leach, the same as Mr. Brett Bartolone. He played for who? Mike Leach. Brett played for Mike Leach at Washington State. Zach Kitley played for Mike Leach at Texas Tech. It's the same offense. It's going to be the same style offense. All the concepts are the same. If you guys are from Mississippi, I know a lot of you are from Mississippi. If you watch Mississippi State, look what Mississippi State was able to do this year when they brought in who? Mike Leach. The concepts are the same. It's to get the ball out, get the ball into the hands of your playmakers, and allow them to do what? Make plays. Josh Stearns, who played also for Western Kentucky University, was the leading receiver in the country in catches and yards, and tied for touchdowns with Josh Addison from Pittsburgh. All of these are facts. You can look them up. They played in what? The air raid Mike Leach style offense. Let's continue to read it. It says Bartolone's introduction to JSU faithful was subtle and in some teams not unexpected. Coach Prime referred to changes to correct issues on the team that may have prevented them from closing out the season with the win in the Celebration Bowl. What was the biggest problem with Jackson State this past year? For those of you watching, those of you JSU fans, what was the biggest problem? The biggest problem was offensive line and offensive production. Outside of the Alabama A&M game, if you're a real JSU fan, please let me know. Outside of the Alabama A&M game, the JSU offense didn't look good all year. They put up 38 points on a Tennessee State team that is drastically rebuilding. Shout out to Eddie George, but they're rebuilding. They put up 38 points against them. They put up a bunch of points against Alabama A&M. We came to find out Alabama A&M gave up a bunch of points to everybody, and they weren't very good. And that offense was very much lackluster, albeit they had great players. Malachi Wideman, great player. Shedeur Sanders, a great player. They had really good players. Trevante Rucker, I think, is going to be a star, by the way. He's an outside receiver. He's a true freshman. Really good player. Warren Newman, really good player. Keith Corbin, a really good player. Like, they had great players, but it wasn't consistent. It wasn't consistent. Let's continue reading about Mr. Bartolone. It says Bartolone, a native of La Habra. Make sure I'm butchered that all the way. La Habra, California, was a wide receiver at Washington State under who? Head coach Mike Leach from 2012 to 2015. The 5'10 wideout had 17 game appearances with 63 catches for 488 yards and 4 touchdowns. Also, he recorded 6 punt returns and 2 kickoff returns as a freshman for the Cougars. That says a shoulder injury derailed his playing career during the sophomore campaign. He quickly shifted his focus to coaching with the Cougars and strategized with the offensive staff and slot receivers with halftime analysis of defensive coverages. Bartolone joined the St. Lawrence University football team staff in 2017. Now, another person who is a disciple of the Mike Leach lineage. Who else? Can anybody guess? He recently became the head coach of USC. His name is Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley also plays in what is considered an air raid offense. His offense is a little bit different, though. Lincoln Riley's offense incorporates a lot of power running in his offense. Zach Kitley, who was a disciple of Mike Leach as well, he's more the traditional air raid, spread it out. And I believe with all the receiver talent that was brought into Jackson State and the quarterback in Shedeur Sanders and no running backs being brought in, I believe we'll see more of the traditional air raid style put on the field as far as the product from Mr. Bartolone at JSU. Now, someone asked what happened to TC Taylor. Nothing happened to TC Taylor. Ashley Robinson, Coach Prime, those guys know they can't fire TC Taylor. TC Taylor did his job. He worked with the groceries. These were the groceries. He worked with them. It just wasn't explosive enough. Coach Prime went out there and got a new offense coordinator. TC Taylor has been moved he's the play calling duties is not on TC Taylor. Now he is the wide receiver coach. Coach Jason Phillips looked like he has moved on. He had a nice, it looks like, I'm not sure, I'm not reporting anything, but it looks as if Jason Phillips, who started the year as the offensive coordinator, play calling duties, then went to TC Taylor, and now they're with Mr. Bartolone. It looks like they moved. TC Taylor won't be calling plays. He is now the wide receivers coach, which will be pivotal in an air raid offense. This is going to be super pivotal because, like I said, the air raid is about getting the ball out, getting the ball out, getting the ball out. And think about the offenses that I just named. Mike Leach, Mississippi State, Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, now at USC, and Western Kentucky University. Little do you know, Western Kentucky University this past year with their air raid offense led by Zach Kittley, who was also a disciple of Mike Leach, led the country. They were the number one offense in the country. Bailey Zappi. I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is going to end up with numbers like Bailey Zappi, but that is the style of football that you can look forward to. Now, let me make sure you guys understand what I'm talking about. Let me make sure you guys understand what I'm talking about. Now, the reason why I say you can't expect Shedeur to do this because Zappi played under this offense for 4 years. Now, these are the numbers. These are the numbers that Bailey Zappi put up under this air raid style offense. Bailey Zappi, the reason why I'm using him is because this is what the offense is. This is what Zappi was able to do during the 2021 season. 62 touchdowns, 5,900 yards, and only 11 interceptions with a QBR of 78.6. This is what Zappi was able to do. Now, the reason why, let me make sure I preference this by saying, do not expect Shedeur to put up these type of numbers. Why? Because Zappi played under this offense for 4 years. Zappi was a senior. He and Kittley went to Houston Baptist and put up these type of numbers, and they have been doing this for years. This will be Shedeur's first season under this style of offense. But this is what you can expect as far as throwing the ball. You're going to see a lot of 5 wide concepts. You're going to see a lot of 4 wide concepts. You're not going to see a ton of running the ball. I'm going to just be honest. You're not going to see a power running. If you're expecting to see 4 yards in a cloud of dust and all that kind of stuff from Jackson State, no, you're going to see up-tempo. You're going to see the ball slinging all over the field. You're going to see playmakers with the ball in their hands, and that is exactly why you went out and get all these wide receivers. Who are the receivers you're talking about? We're talking about Kevin Coleman Jr. We're talking about Travis Hunter playing some receiver, which he's already said, and Coach Prime has already said he's going to do. We're talking about the 2 transfers from Indiana. We're talking about Quay Davis, who will be eligible this year. We're talking about Ala Brown, who will be eligible this year. We're talking about all of these guys like Trevante Rucker coming back as well. Like Malachi Wideman, the 12 touchdown leader in the SWAC. This is why they brought in all those receivers. This is why, because you're going to have to rotate bodies. You're going to, and the best guys are going to play. The guys who are making the most noise and the guys who Shedeur finds the connection with earliest will get a chance to play. Now, so them boys, you're absolutely right. It will be more zone running schemes. It'll be running schemes to keep you honest. Like, they're not just going to abandon the run like they did at points in the 2021 season. They're not just going to abandon the run, but it will look different. It will be completely different. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, guys. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, guys. It says, yeah, so this is the trajectory that JSU was going in. Now, I'm going to show you the JSU workout video where they introduced Mr. Bartolone. Let me pull that up. It was super, like they said, it was super subtle. It was super like nonchalant, and it came out like really late last night, like at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. Let me make sure. Hold on. Hit the thumbs up button too, guys. Let's see. We'll take a look on how JSU. Let me know if you can hear it. This is how they introduced. This is the team working out. This was them working out. And they had a song playing. I had to mute the song.
Finally back at Jackson State. First workout out the way. No, we're just excited for his next season, man. You hear him? It's legendary. Let's get it.
That's Trevante Rucker. That's Quay Davis. Guys are getting ready to play in this air raid.
Coach O, Director of Player Personnel for Jackson State Football. I just welcome you back with our players to the next season. 2022 is here. Smart, fast, tough, and disciplined. It's the same as always. And make sure you got that character on top.
Yeah, back at it again. My new sister 10 and she got no friends, but she popular pills. And I crack out these seals so I cannot trill. What I said.
Hey guys, my name is Brett Bartolone. I'm the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Jackson State. I'm super excited.
There he is, Mr. Bartolone.
Jackson State community. You can expect us to score a lot of points. We're going to be prepared, and to put it quite simply, we're going to do stuff the defense doesn't like us to do. We're going to play fast, and we're going to play super confident. We're going to attack the defense.
What's up, man? I'm Coach Taylor, Coach TC Taylor.
There he is.
Wide receivers coach here at Jackson State University. I'm glad to be back up in here. We in here kicking off this spring, man. We're finna get this thing going. Expectations, man. We want to stay hot. You know, we did some big things last year, but we didn't quite close it out the way we wanted to. So we coming back to finish this thing out. So we got to come back in here, starting in the weight room, in the classroom, getting these guys together, get a team ready for the 22 season. We fired up over here. Let's go.
This is the team working out. They're back there. And this is big because they're back on campus. They're getting ready for spring ball. They're getting ready to make some plays. They're getting ready for a great 22 season. They're going to have to bring it. It's just them talking the rest of the way. It's not nothing too exciting the rest of the way, but they're going to need all the workouts they can get, because in this offense, it's pace. It's going to be, you're going to have to be one of the most well-conditioned teams in the SWAC, and it's going to be a type of offense. Like someone talked about the Satellite Express with Jerry Rice and Willie Totten and those. Yeah, it's going to be that kind of offense. Martin, you're absolutely right. I didn't want to, my bad if I, like, there's rumors. I just want to talk about this really quick because this is really interesting. When you talk about the Satellite Express, there was rumors. There's probably some truth to this. I don't know. Obviously I wasn't around during this time, but when the 49ers, who took Jerry Rice in the first round, when they went to go scout Jerry Rice, and they watched the game tape and they talked to the head coach, the coaches down there in Mississippi Valley, that they implemented parts of what Mississippi Valley State was doing to the 49ers offense that eventually went on to win a ton of Super Bowls. So there's that little nugget. Shout out to Martin Anderson for pointing that out. So yeah, this offense, folks, get ready, because the offense that you all wanted in the 21 season, that you thought was going to see in the 21 season on a consistent basis, it's coming in the 22 season. How the SWAC defenses will be able to play against it. Don't just think the SWAC guys are just going to roll over JSU because they're getting a bunch of guys and they're getting a bunch of stuff. Hugh Jackson is working the phone lines. Hugh Jackson is working. Coach Dancy went out and got a bunch of players. Southern is loading up in the transfer portal. Alabama A&M is loading up as well. So the folks in the SWAC are getting ready. Like the folks, they're ready to play some ball too. But I would be remiss if I wouldn't say Jackson State ain't looking good. This was a thing that came out today. Now, we're talking about Brett Bartolone, the new offensive coordinator at JSU. He's gonna bring a bunch of dope stuff to the Jackson State football team. But this tweet, now, for those of you who don't know, 2 Jackson State commits are down in Hawaii at what's called the Polynesian Bowl. They're down there at the Polynesian Bowl. They're playing their last All-Star game before they head to Jackson, and they'll be enrolled in class on Monday, January 24th. That is Kevin Coleman Jr., the 4-star who committed to Jackson State on national television at the Army All-American game, and obviously the number 1 player in the country, Travis Hunter. Now, Texas A&M is shaking in their boots. This is why they're shaking in their boots, because an A&M Twitter account that covers all things Texas A&M tweeted out, Deion Sanders is about to strike again. Now, this could mean a ton of things. This is super freaking who knows what it means. It doesn't really mean anything, but it lets us know at 9 in the morning, at 9 a.m., that Coach Prime had something up his sleeve. It's like, man, what's about to happen? Like an A&M website that covers all things Texas A&M, they literally says your number 1 source for Aggie football and recruiting. Got a nice little following. and they said Deion Sanders is about to strike again. So a lot of people were like, yo, is it Shamar Stewart? Is it Harold Perkins? Is it, because those guys are down there at the Polynesian Bowl, and you know, Travis and Kevin are recruiting heavily. They're recruiting really, really heavily for Coach Prime down there at the Polynesian Bowl, trying to get folks to flip, trying to get folks to come be a part of this JSU, this HBCU movement. And as that came out at 9 in the morning, at 5 o'clock today, this came out. This came out at 5 o'clock today, and this was a transfer by the name of Antonio Doyle Jr. decides, I want to link up with Coach Prime. I want to come to JSU, that he believes, and he is going to be an edge rusher for the Jackson State football team. I believe he's going to JSU. Antonio Doyle Jr., he is committed from Texas A&M. He was a 4-star in the 2020 recruiting class. He's an edge rusher. He was a 4-star. I think he was ranked in the top 90 recruits in the country, and now he is a part of the Jackson State recruiting class of 2022. He's going to JSU. He's going to be a Tiger, and he's going to help try. Because remember, we've talked about this several times. Jackson State is losing a lot on that defensive line. When you lose a guy like James Houston, a newcomer of the year, the SWAC, one of the top defensive players in the country, you lose a lot of production. You're losing 16, 17 and a half sacks. You're losing over 20 tackles for loss. Then you lost Antoine Owen, another 19, 20 tackles for loss, and another 6.5 sacks. So we're looking at 25 sacks and 40 tackles for loss gone. So it's gonna be a plethora of guys vying to try to replace that production. He was the number 4 inside linebacker out of college, out of high school. So you're losing a lot of production. So you're going to have some guys come in and fill those spots. It's not going to be 1 or 2. It's probably going to be guys by committee, added to the Josh Griffiths, adding to the Niles Gaddy, adding to some of the guys that are already there on the defensive front. And this young man, Antonio Doyle Jr., let's take a look at the article put out by the Clarion Ledger, another friend of the show, Kari Thompson. He did a quick little write-up on the latest commit to Jackson State. It says, Texas A&M linebacker Antonio Doyle Jr. is headed to Jackson State. A 4-star recruit in the class of 2020, Doyle was the number 5 inside linebacker in the nation and the number 89 recruit in the 247 Sports Composite. He committed to Missouri but ended up signing with Texas A&M. That's the video we just watched. And it says Doyle played in 9 games over 2 seasons with the Aggies. He made 7 tackles and mostly appeared on special teams. A St. Louis native who also is from St. Louis. Kevin Coleman Jr. is also from St. Louis. The St. Louis native's final game with Texas A&M was on September 18th before he decided to enter his name in the transfer portal. This young man is going to make an impact on the SWAC. This young man is going to be able to make some plays. And the reason why it's so important to stockpile talent, here's why you stockpile talent the way Harold Perkins, Shamar is not at the Polynesian Bowl, but Harold Perkins is. Yes, and that is something to keep an eye on because I told you guys back when I first did my report on Harold Perkins that Harold Perkins was going to take visits outside. He's going to commit. We talked about that. He was going to commit at the Under Armour All-American game, but he was going to take visits outside of his commitment. Yes, he committed to Texas A&M, but I said just wait to signing day. If he signs at Texas A&M, cool. But until then, I'm not saying he's going, but I'm saying there's a chance. Harold is there. Harold is there, and he's chatting it up with his friend Travis Hunter. He's chatting it up with a big-time JSU commit and Kevin Coleman. But about Antonio Doyle Jr., the reason why you have to stockpile talent if you're a team like JSU is because everybody's not going to hit. My guy CFL, shout out to CFL, gave me a dope little shout-out. Everybody is not going to be a James Houston. Everybody's not going to be a James Houston. Everybody, some players are going to end up like James Houston, and then some players just aren't. Like they're going to end up like, some of these other guys. And so you stockpile guys because the more talent you accumulate, the more chances of you're going to get a guy that's going to pop. And so going out and getting a guy like Antonio Doyle Jr. and going out and getting a bunch of receivers and going out and getting a Travis Hunter. And guys like Travis Hunter are mostly can't miss, but some of these other guys could be can't miss and could be, what they would consider a bust. So you need to stockpile talent. And the thing about Coach Prime is that the best player plays. He don't care about classification. He don't care about your eligibility. He don't care about all that stuff. The best players play. That's why you see a guy like a Cameron Silman Craig, who was a true freshman, start from day one. A guy like Malachi Wideman, who came to JSU late, didn't play the first couple of games, and ends up being this team's best receiver. That's why you see things like that. That's why you see a guy like James Houston change positions. You had a Keontae Hampton and you had an Aubrey Miller as the two inside linebackers. James Houston couldn't beat them out. You change him position, and he becomes the best pass rusher or one of the best pass rushers in the entire SWAC. So that is why it is critical to continue to stockpile talent, because the talent always prevails. Speaking of Kevin Coleman Jr., be sure to hit the thumbs up button, guys. You guys are in here really heavy. Speaking of Kevin Coleman Jr., he is at the Polynesian Bowl. As I explained earlier. He and Travis Hunter will both be on JSU's campus on Monday. They will be enrolled in school. In those workout videos we just watched, they will be a part of those workouts because they're enrolling in the school early, because they want to be a part of this and be special. Now, this was Kevin Coleman. I'm going to share my screen. This was him at the Polynesian Bowl explaining why he chose Jackson State and the reception that he's gotten from you guys, the fans. You guys have been showing him mad love, and he's appreciated. Let me know in the chat if you can hear it. Let me know in the comments if you can hear it.
Yes, sir. You shocked a lot of people when you made that decision. What's it been like over the past week or so since you did that?
Oh, it's been amazing getting a lot of recognition from a lot of people. A lot of people recognize I made history. It's just a blessing to make history, make change, and open people's eyes.
You said, you told me at the time that Travis didn't even know. Now you guys are here together. What's this week going to be like for you?
Oh, this is about to be fun, man, my boy. Yeah, he didn't even know, so just send him now. The smile on his face, you can tell he's very happy.
He told me he's going to try to play every snap both ways, so what's it going to be like with you two lining up on offense?
Hell for the defensive coordinator. We ain't stop the best two in the country on one side. Yeah, that's crazy.
Getting a chance to talk to Deion after you decided, you said he didn't really know either. What was his reaction?
He was shocked. He was very happy. I could tell on his face. The big old smile he had. We had a deep talk. He heard a lot of my interviews, and he heard a lot of things I had to say about his program. We talked about if I do what I got to do, he's going to do what he has to do.
You mentioned you heard from a lot of people. I know a lot of HBCU grads, not just Jackson State fans, a lot of people from around the country were excited. Anybody famous hit you up or reach out that surprised you?
It was a lot of people that hit me up. I can't even remember. It's just crazy how many people hit me up. A lot of people retweeted my stuff. When I seen OBJ retweeted, it was crazy. That's my favorite player of all time. So just seeing her retweet it, I'm just getting a lot of recognition. Like Bradley Bill, local people from my spot.
And what's the plan for you to enroll and move out there?
Oh, I will be at Jackson, January 24th, Monday.
Okay, so you're going home and then you're moving, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's big. That's big because he is going to have a head start that a lot of freshmen don't get. He's going to enroll on Monday. He's going to be on campus, him and Travis Hunter, and they're going to be a part of this air raid offense. I don't think you guys understand how big this air raid offense. This is going to be amazing to watch these young men continue to level up. I'm glad he's excited. I'm glad you guys are excited. Oh, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the latest commit to Jackson State. The latest commit came in, if you're watching this in real time, came in about an hour ago. And it's an underrated position, but it's a position that's going to now have some competition. The kicker position. Jackson State has added another kicker along with Trey Glimph. My boy CFL Kobe Orr talks about Trey Glimph all the time. I think he might even interview Trey Glimph. I'm not for sure. But Trey Glimph is going to have some comp because Jackson State struggled with offensive line play. They've upgraded, got 5 commits, and they're supposed to be bringing in 5 more. And now they have another kicker committed, and Alexandro Mata. Alexandro Mata is coming in. They're going to upgrade the kicker position because they struggled. Field goal kicking and extra point kicking was a struggle for Jackson State last year. Now they're bringing in another kicker. Now there is more depth, and there's going to be a kicking competition. You can't have too many kickers, man. Like, even the best schools in the country at the FBS level, Alabama, struggle for years with field goal kicking. Field goal kicking makes and breaks games, makes and breaks championships. And so to have another kicker come into the fold, that is big for JSU. That is big because they need some comp, because they need the best field goal kicker out there on the field at all times. Because if you plan on scoring a bunch of points, which they do with this new air raid offense, then they need to have the best kicker on the field. I'm going to look at some of your comments. I want to take in some of your comments before we get out of here. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. with the Black Boss channel. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jeff Lightsy Jr. Jeff Lightsy Jr. Hit the thumbs up button too, by the way. You guys are always showing great support. But yes, field goal kicking was an issue for JSU. Coach Prime told us after the Celebration Bowl, after Jackson State got their butts kicked. Let's be honest. They got their butts kicked. By a team that out-physicaled them, by a team who looked like they were hungrier than them, by a team who looked like they wanted it more than them, just by the play on the field. I'm not talking about attitudes. I'm not talking about nothing. Just from the play we saw on the field, Jackson State came in there really confident. You know, AD Ashley Robinson said we're gonna beat at the I think it was the Alcorn game. He was like, we're gonna beat Alcorn, we're gonna beat Prairie View in the SWAC championship, and then we're gonna go to Celebration Bowl and beat South Carolina State. They were super confident coming into that game, and then they got smacked out the park. And so Coach Prime went up to that podium in front of a mic just like this one and said, I know where our weaknesses are, and I'm going to fix our weaknesses. He knew the weaknesses were they didn't score enough points throughout the season. They didn't. It's just the truth. Whether you love or hate T.C. Taylor, love or hate Jason Phillips, love or hate these different guys, they didn't score enough points. Outside of the Alabama A&M game, they didn't score a ton of points. They went out and got a new offensive coordinator. They're going to have a brand new offensive scheme. Their offensive line was shaky at best. Shaky at best. And what did they do? They went out and signed five offensive linemen. Five and big boys. Like not no little men, like 6'7", 6'7", 6'5", 6'3", all 300 plus. Went out and signed 5. CFL told us it's going to be 10 total. So it's going to be hella competition. That was the second thing. And they had shaky at best kicking game. And they've signed multiple kickers to address the kicking issue. This is what they said they were going to do. He said, all while doing all of this, they also signed the number 1 player in the country in Travis Hunter, got a 4-star in Kevin Coleman Jr., the number 4 slot receiver in the country. And they potentially are still in on Shamar Stewart and possibly Harold Perkins. So, and they knew they had to replace James Houston's production, Antoine Owens' production, and they went out and got a ton of edge rushers because they wreaked havoc on the SWAC when it came to rushing the passer. They wreaked havoc on the SWAC when it came to rushing the passer. They wreaked havoc, led the nation in sacks. They wreaked havoc on the SWAC rushing the passer. So they had things they had to fix. It looks like those things have been fixed. Obviously, we won't know until we watch the games come this fall. But Coach Prime said he knew what his issues were with his team. He knew where he had to upgrade. He knew what he had to do. And this looks like he's going out to do it. One thing he knows, he has an elite level quarterback in his son, Shedeur Sanders. And can we all agree? Shedeur is elite. Shedeur was a freshman. He made freshman mistakes. He is not just like, godly. He is elite, but he was a freshman and made freshman mistakes. We also have to take into account crowds. Shedeur never played in front of a crowd like the one he saw at Jackson, Mississippi. You guys showed up there 40, 50, 60,000 every single week. You led the nation in attendance. Be proud of yourself in that. You led the nation in attendance. Shedeur went to a very small private school in Dallas, Texas called Trinity Christian that maybe had a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 or 2 show up to a game. You go from 1,000 or 2 your senior year in high school to 50,000 every week. That's a difference. You go from being, a private school to being everyone's Super Bowl. Like, think about this. JSU was everyone's Super Bowl every single time they touched the field last year. And if you thought they were the Super Bowl last year, this fall 22, that every single team in the SWAC has JSU circled. If it ain't, not just every single team in the SWAC, every single team on their schedule. FAMU's got JSU schedule. Southern Heritage Classic. They got JSU scheduled. Every single team that they're going to play this year, there's going to be their Super Bowl. So they're going to have to bring it every single week. There's no days off. There's no week off. There's no cupcake games. There's no, we can sleepwalk through this game. None of that. They haven't built up that cachet. They haven't built up that type of equity. They still have to go out there and compete because these pieces right now are just pieces. And a lot of the guys that put up a ton of production last year are gone. James Houston ain't walked through those doors anymore. Keith Corbin gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they're going to need guys to step up and make plays. But I'm not saying that they can't. And everybody in the SWAC is upgraded. Have they not? Dooley at Southern, upgraded. Hugh Jackson at Grambling, he's upgraded. Connell Maynard, they had a disappointing year after winning that spring championship that a lot of you guys are kind of sleeping on. That was garbage championship. They've upgraded. Alcorn State, who were the kings of the SWAC for a long time. They went out and upgraded, added some pieces. So teams in the SWAC are hungry. Teams want to beat Jackson State. Teams want to say, we're the cream of the crop of the SWAC. We're the cream of the crop when it comes to HBCU football. Valley, yes, Israel, Valley has upgraded drastically. So teams that they're tired of hearing people like myself and others talk about Jackson State all the time. They want to be the team that gets covered on this podcast and CFL and Off Script and Blue Bloods and Swacking a Fool and all that stuff. They want to be the team to talk about Light on Sports, all of them. They want to be the team that's being covered every single week. So the SWAC, if you weren't a SWAC fan before this year, this is the perfect year to be a SWAC fan. This is the perfect year to come and pick a favorite school, pick a team, whether it's by the colors, by the name brand, by whatever. This is the year to do it because it is going to be all systems go. And we're still waiting on the announcement. I came on here. I broke the news on Monday that Hugh Jackson has a major announcement that I was told is kind of like groundbreaking. I don't want to hype it too much because I have no idea what it is, but they have an announcement. And whatever this announcement is supposed to also upgrade Grambling. Grambling has built a pipeline to the West Coast that's incredible. Like they're out there getting kids from California to come down to the boot. The Bayou Classic from this year, I had people in my DMs telling me that the Bayou Classic is as soon as the tickets go on sale, they're going to be sold out at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in New Orleans. Yes, get your season tickets. So be sure to hit the thumbs up button. It says, do you think they'll get better coverage from ESPN this year? ESPN's coverage was shaky at best at times, especially some of those games that were on ESPN Plus. First of all, shout out to Tiffany Green and Jay Walker. I love them. I love them together. I love their commentary. But at times they would show Inside the Box, and Tiffany Green and Jay Walker wouldn't even be lit. It's like, yo, lights cost $20 at Walmart. Get them folks a light. We trying to see the broadcasters. Then at the Celebration Bowl, for whatever reason, they moved Tiffany Green out the box and put in RG3 and Mark Jones, and that's cool or whatever. Especially the RG3 aspect. Mark Jones in there throwing up cue hooks. Anybody else see that? He was in there throwing up cues. Oh, we're going to talk about Omega Sound 5. Throw up, like, bro, what are you on, bro? Like, that don't happen if you got Miss Tiffany Green in the booth. Put Miss Tiffany Green back in the booth for the Celebration Bowl. Sideline reporting is cool. Like, that's cool. But if you got a dude in there throwing up cue hooks, and Mark Jones is a dope commentator. He really does really good work, especially on the NBA side. Come on, bro. We can't go for that. So I hope Big Jones, my hope is hopefully. I don't know. They signed an extension with ESPN. ESPN covers the SWAC. I have no idea, but hopefully it's better. I'm going to look at some of your other comments. It says Southern has the best chance to win their band. I really love Southern. Southern's band is my favorite, by the way. I love Southern's band. Southern's band, I remember watching their game against JSU last year at halftime. Oh, my God, the band was going crazy. That's my favorite in the SWAC. Somebody else can convince me otherwise, but Southern right now holds number one spot in the power rankings in my heart. He said, hey, JSU just signed through the transfer. Yeah, that's what we talked about. Antonio Doyle Jr. is the pass rusher they signed from Texas A&M. Antonio Doyle Jr. Shador does love the crowds because Shador never saw a crowd like that in high school. Shador, even on his college visits, he never saw a crowd like what he sees in the vet every single week. So that's why he loves it. The average attendance, I have a proclamation or a challenge for JSU this year. JSU fans, those of you live in Mississippi or that go to JSU games. You guys set the attendance record last year with 42,000. 42,000, you averaged 42,000 people at Jackson State games this past year in the fall of 2021. I have a proclamation. I think you guys will top 47,000 fans a week. I think JSU can do it. I think you'll get 47,000 plus. That's my challenge to you all. Go to the games consistently. Can 47,000 plus come to a game every single week? The average attendance at home games, 47. That's not including classics, but average attendance, 47,000 plus. Can you do it? That's my challenge to you. Let's see. JSU's next quarterback will be crazy. He's called the problem. Also, like James Houston, they offered him yesterday, and Oliver's comments on the new I don't know who the new JSU quarterback is because Shedeur is only going into his true sophomore year. So at best, you got him for 2 more years. I'm interested to know who that is. I don't even know who that is. So thanks for the comment, Aaron Sanders. Thank you so much. Let's look at some other ones. Let's see. I just want to see what's going on. The O-line was not good. No, the O-line wasn't good, but that's why they went out and got a ton of offensive linemen. Let's run it back. So yeah, I mean that is the plan for Jackson State is to repeat as SWAC champions. But it's going to be tough. It is not going to be a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination. Southern has upgraded. Prairie View has gotten better. Valley has gotten better. Grambling has gotten better. I did a legacy piece yesterday on head coach Eddie Robinson. I just didn't know how great of a man he was. Oh my God. For you Graham fam out there, Eddie Robinson doesn't get talked about enough. Not just from you all, I'm saying on a national scale. We need to hold up King Eddie, RIP Robinson. We need to hold him in higher regard. I feel like he doesn't get mentioned enough. I feel like he doesn't get talked about enough because of the things that he was able to do while he was the head coach at Grambling. He also coached the basketball team while he was also coaching the football team for a very long time. All the players he put in the NFL, the first #1 overall pick from an HBCU, et cetera, et cetera. It's just so many things I listed off. You can check that out. I am interested in seeing that. The Sonic Boom's off the chain. Sonic Boom's not Grambling. Southern is called the Human Jukebox. Right now, Human Jukebox, they own the #1 spot in my heart right now as far as HBCU's bands. FAMU's got Christian Miller. Yes, Christian Miller is visiting FAMU. He is a 4 or 5 star out of Florida. He had FAMU in his top 3 or 4. FAMU's getting a visit from one of the best players in the country. It's going to be interesting to see if head coach Willie Simmons is able to pull that one off. I can't wait to see if they're able to do it. Christian Miller is a defensive end. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5". He's a big kid. Let's see if they're going to be able to pull him off. I love Miss Tiffany Green, too. She is amazing at her job. Says it was crazy watching Coach Robinson in the 90s. And think about it, you was watching him in the 90s. He did it for almost 6 decades. The man coached 57 years. I think 16 championships, 17 SWAC titles. The list, when I was reading that stuff yesterday, I was like, oh my God, Coach Eddie Robinson was just on a whole nother level. We don't talk about that enough. I'm going to continue to bring up his name because he is not mentioned enough. The first coach of 400 wins. He was the all-time wins leader. So many championships, so many guys put in the NFL, #1 overall picks, championship after championship, then also coached the basketball team. It's just crazy, Coach Eddie Robinson. This system with all these weapons, JSU. Yeah. I mean, they plan on lighting up the scoreboard. They're going to try to make sure all digits, all the light bulbs on the scoreboard at the vet work. You got to make sure all the light bulbs at the scoreboard on the vet works as well. Oh, and I forgot, there was another thing. I want to make sure you guys see this because this young lady does a lot of work. There is a reporter out of Jackson. Let me go ahead and pull that up. She interviewed Michael Irvin. Her name is Kayla Thompson. Miss Kayla Thompson interviewed Michael Irvin. And this is what Michael Irvin, hold on one second. Hold on. She interviewed Michael Irvin, and this is what Michael Irvin had to say about the Tigers. And I'm going to get up out of here, guys, because you guys have been rocking with me so heavy for a long time. This is Miss Kayla Thompson. You can follow Miss Kayla right here at K Thompson TV. She's a reporter. I think they're down there in Jackson. She did an interview with Michael Irvin, and the full interview comes out, as you see, this weekend on her company's website. But this was a snippet that she posted from the playmaker asking him about JSU. Here's what he had to say. Take a listen.
Can we expect to see you at a JSU game coming up pretty soon?
Oh, you better believe it. We already talked about it. When he does his camp, I'm coming to do the camp this year. So I'm coming to Jackson to do that camp with Deion this year. I think it's sometime in June or July, whenever. I'm going to be there. You better believe I'm going to be there.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, now I'm going to look forward to seeing you when I'm there because I know you guys will be out there covering the camp. Make sure.
So the playmaker will be in Jackson this summer. So for those of you who are thinking about attending the Jackson State football camp, make sure you're there because the playmaker will be in Jackson this fall to come and see the JSU football camp, and he'll probably be at a couple games this year as well. And RIP, I want to throw this out. Shout out to Be More. RIP Miss Lucy Harris. I did a feature piece on Miss Lucy Harris. She was the first and the only woman to be drafted into the NBA. She was a 3-time national champion at Delta State down there in Mississippi. So RIP Miss Lucy Harris. I definitely want to throw that out there. So thank you for bringing that up. Shout out to you guys for rocking with me really heavy. We're in here really deep. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, guys. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. with the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel right there. Subscribe to it right there. And hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me. And I will see you next time. Peace.